everyone, how you doing today? My name's Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and this is my 2026 bullet journal setup. Hello and welcome. If you are new here, I am a chronic unfinisher of bullet journals. I set them up, I intend to do really well every year, and then every year I get 1 to 2 months in, have a meltdown, end up not keeping up with it, and then before I know it, it's September before I'm next picking it up. I have multiple times gotten myself very lost in that my bullet journal has to look pretty and have all of these extra aesthetics that everyone else seems to do with pretty lettering and calligraphy, and I get so wrapped up in all of that I get intimidated out of using it. Going into 2026, I've decided my bullet journal, I just want it to be similar to my reading journal has been in 2025, where yes, I have spreads that keep me accountable and have goals and things like that, but the majority of the book is more of like a monthly snapshot and a monthly memento as to what I've done through the year. And that's kind of similar to what I want my bullet journal to be. I want it to be simple but functional, and I want it to really focus on what are my goals and what are the things that I want to do this year. And I'll explain that a little bit more as we get into it. So this is the journal that I've chosen this year. I wanted to get a like term, and I went to TK Maxx because I have never failed to get a like term from there, only they didn't have. And this was one of only 2 journals they had in the entire store that had the dotted pages, which is my personal preference, and yeah, that was kind of infuriating. There are some bits in here that I have covered with sticky notes and things because I'm just not really quite ready to share those with you yet. The most fancy thing I have in this bullet journal is this sticker. Pretty much I wanted something to kind of set a mood, and also I like to pick a colour scheme that I'm going to work with for my main setup, and I went with purple. And literally throughout this entire journal, like this journal's not even got a brand, I don't think. Does it even have a brand? Oh, in real life, I've never heard of this brand. I think it's just a standard. And you'll notice already got pen marks and scuff marks. I've already stained the ribbon. Hello, welcome to Beth Bookish, where we are a mess here. I've used 2 colours, and that is it for setting up my main spreads, and it's these zebra mild liners. So we have this lilac and then this sort of lavendery purpley blue colour. I've used a Tombow Fudenosuke pen, which is like the hard nib one, and then I used a pigment liner. Not even this one. This is just one that happened to be on my desk, and a biro. That is it. That is what I've used to set these spreads up. So yeah, let's get into it. As I said, I've got my little sticker, I've got my name, I have a phone number on the very rare off chance that I take it out and if I do lose it. On the next page, I've just got my blood type, allergies, conditions, medication, things like that, just so I've got a reference there for anybody that needs it. The one thing I always do when I start a new bullet journal, no matter what, I always do a little yearly reflection. So I have all of the thoughts, no matter good or bad, on this side, and a little bit of an essay on how things went. I've covered up the only bit that I said some things in it that I'm like, the world doesn't need to know that I said, and it was sort of revolving around the early part of the year and some stuff that went on like with the breakup and things. So it's like, that's a bit too raw and I'm not ready to share that. But then there's sort of how the rest of the year went leading up to where I'm at now. But as I said here, I end this year angry, hurt, rejected, broken. But I enter next year determined, hungry, and ready to fight. And I think that's a pretty good summary of how my year has been. It's been a pretty shitty year. I've faced a lot of rejection. I have been struggling with my mental health, but I'm still feeling positive and optimistic about the year ahead, and that can never be a bad thing. And then I always do a minimum of 10 things that went well or that were good in this year. So I've expanded on my group of friends. I now have like amazing friends there. Through those friends, I've gone back to playing D&D. I've upgraded some technology, so my phone got an upgrade after 5 years. My bedroom had a really big regeneration and upgrade. I joined Gavin's Patreon. I started a new medication for my migraines that so far seems to be working. I like number 8. I was brave because I did try new things and I did try to date. I put myself out there. I set some more boundaries and I didn't let myself settle for anything less than what I deserve to be and how I deserve to be treated. I read horror. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone so many times this year. And yeah, a lot of it didn't pay off, but the ones that did really did. And I'm so proud of myself for that. I always have my yearly my year at a glance. So just each month. So if anything comes up, I can just write it in. And then I always do for the following year, I do Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And then every year I choose a word of the year. Can I remember what the word of the year was for this year? No. Oh, rejuvenation? I don't think I really did very well with my word of the year this year, to be perfectly honest with you. Yes, rejuvenation was my word of 2025. I'll be talking more about it when I do a flip through of that journal. But that kind of went to the wayside. And when I was trying to decide what do I want my word of the year for next year to be, I was like, I think gentle is a very good word. I've written down the definition. So it's having or showing a mild, kind or tender temperament or character. And I think that's how I want to approach next year. Yes, I want to get my butt in gear. Yes, I need to kick myself into action, but we're going to do it gently. And so I wrote down the key themes and ideas that the word means to me. And then I thought, right, when I do implement this word into my year, what would my year look like in an ideal world? So I've got giving myself rest when I need it, being kind to myself and stop comparing myself to other people, listen to my gut because it's been right more than it's been wrong, especially recently, indulge more in the things that I love. Yes, I love gaming, but I am fully aware that I use video games as a crutch for my depression. And next year I want to work on that. Lean on my friends more and a little reminder to myself that I am not a burden to them. And to be patient, because patience for myself is the one thing I do not have. I have patience for other people. I have patience for other things. Do not have it for my own self. And I am not very kind to myself and I'm not gentle to myself. So yeah, I need to be nicer to myself. I then have my big goals, and even though realistically I know that probably half of these won't even get done, I like to at least think about it and give myself some stuff to focus on. So I've separated it into 4 sections. We have business and professional, which apart from Vinted, that is just a secondhand selling site that I will be restarting next year. The rest of that is all hush hush because I am still in the process of working stuff out. But I've got some social media stuff, I've got some personal life stuff and some recreational and creative things. So some just to pick out, I've got social media. I really want to start posting shorts and more reels next year. Recreational and creative, I would like to have a go at being a DM again for D&D. I would really like to get back into my writing and do some more K-pop stuff. Like I didn't get to a K-pop concert this year and I'm gutted, so I'd love to get one next year. And then my big goal for the entirety of next year is getting over to Germany for Halloween to see Jona. And I would also really love to start learning BSL. So if you are either a BSL user yourself or if you know where I can start looking to learn, I, especially as someone who isn't currently working and so doesn't have a budget to really do full courses, if you know anywhere that does sort of like introductory courses, please do let me know. And then I've got a couple of spreads that I picked up from Jess over at Jashi Corin. The first one is Future Me Problems. In 2025, I did this over 2 pages and ended up filling in the grand total of like 3 lines. So for next year, I've got Future Me Problems on 1 page. And then anything that I think of that I either need to buy or replace or upgrade. So a big one for next year is, and we desperately need new saucepans. If you've watched videos recently where I've been cooking and baking, you'll see that our kitchen stuff is a bit of a state. Anything that I think of that needs upgrading or buying or replacing can go on there. And then the other one that I got from Jess is 101 Little Things. This year I was so bad. I started off pretty good at filling stuff, but I was so bad at continuing it, and I am actually really upset with myself on quite a deep level that I didn't do as much, because these are just 101 little things. Like, these are things that I can complete in less than a day for the most part. There's only one, I think two really, that can be done over multiple days. One is to stay in a hotel. Obviously you need to do an overnight for that. And the other one is a beach trip, which where I live, and the fact that I don't drive, I would do it as an overnight thing, not just a one day. But a few things that I want to try, I've got things from anywhere from, you know, do a colouring page, listen to a podcast, to try a new hairstyle, to things like go to a theatre show, go to the cinema, to things like send some snacks to a friend. All of these kinds of things that I really want to do. And I do plan on doing a series of vlogs throughout 2026. They'll be called the Slice of Life Diaries. And in each one, I will be doing things that work towards these 101 little things, as well as my bigger goals. And is a way for me to try and keep myself a little bit more accountable in 2026. If you've enjoyed my vlogs that I've been trialing and playing around with this year, where they're a little bit more on the lifestyle and cozy side, such as the autumn reset that I did a couple of months ago, I hope you enjoy tuning into those vlogs as well. Every year I include a quarterly check-in. Do I ever use it? No. Classic example, 2025. But as with a few of the spreads that I include, I would rather have them and use them if I want to, than not include them, get to the end of the quarter and be like, oh, I really wish that I did. So I won't take it out because I actually do like having it there as an option. Social media, I always like to track my numbers. I know it's not all about the numbers, but I found that, especially being such a small content creator, every single number counts. Not that they don't count when you're bigger, it's just that you see your growth so much more when you're so small. So I do like to check it. YouTube and Instagram are my main platforms. Instagram I desperately need to put more investment into, but I do also use Threads, and I have a TikTok. It does have like, I think 1,200 followers or something. I don't currently have plans to use TikTok next year, but it's nice to have the option there should I wish, and I've got the column ready to go. I have a separate notebook that is almost full and needs a new notebook soon for the plans and ideas that I have for things. I also use a Google Doc, but if for any reason I'm not able to access either of those, I've just got here some ideas that I'll jot down. That was supposed to be... My business planning and ideas, I'm keeping this quiet for now because, as you know, in 2025 I took the year off from my business, and if you are new here, hello, hi. I had a business called Character Sense, and this is an example of what I used to do. I used to make candles, and this is one of my old candles that I did, Oogie Boogie. I will be returning to that. The candles, the wax melts, all of that will be coming back, but under a new business name, which will just be the same as here, K-Beth Bookish. And yeah, I've done all new merch, all new stuff. I'm also expanding into bookish merch, so bookmarks, t-shirts. I'm too asexual for this is coming. Ha! That's hilarious. That's ironic. Sorry. But a t-shirt and bookmark with I'm too asexual for this is in the works. I do plan on doing that. One thing I will say though, in terms of candles, as well as doing my bookish candles, I want to expand and have plans to do a series of pagan Sabbats. So each of the holidays throughout the pagan calendar. So Yule, Mabon, Samhain, all of that. I would love to do a candle for each of those. So if you are a pagan or a witchy type person and you have an altar that you are looking to zhuzh up with some scents of the season, keep your eyes open, they will be coming. And that's all I've got for the sort of self-development, professional, business, goal-oriented stuff. And then I just did one final spread because I stopped and thought about, well, I don't just use my Bujo for that. I track recreational stuff as well, and I was like, what's the main things that I jot down or that I do use in my bullet journal? And we have my K-pop and TV film. K-pop is a huge part of my life. It's very different to a lot of Western music because with Western music you get, if you're lucky, you'll get one a year. Otherwise, it's usually every 4 to 5 years on average that you get an album from someone. With K-pop, most groups do 2 minimum, and it might not be full-length albums, it might only be 2 or 3 songs, but you get 2 to minimum what we call comebacks every year. So when you're following 15 groups and each one of those 15 groups is having 2 minimum comebacks every single year, and you need something to track it. I've also set myself a little challenge. I did it this year for most of the months, where I wanted to look at who's debuting and who are releasing their debut albums. So I've set myself a goal for next year to every single month find a new debut and check them out. And then if I'm watching something or I see an advert, or it's mainly going to be K-drama because I'm, again, huge on K-drama, but I've seen a couple of things recently that I'm like, I will check those out. So I saw on Amazon Prime a thing called Relay. I've written it down, maybe I'll get to it, but as it says here, aka I'll probably never watch these. And then after that, it goes into my monthlies. I am going to do a separate video at the start of January talking you through my monthly setups and how I'm going to be doing those. The monthlies is where I will be doing like I have done in, I'll bring my 2025 one up to give you an idea of what I do. So for every monthly, I have a little calendar. I have a brain dump section for any thoughts and ideas. I keep track of medical stuff. I have a little self-care section, so it's like trying new things, the things that I do to take care of my mind and body, hobbies, the things that I'm doing there. So, you know, I try to reduce my gaming and increase other crafts and other hobbies. TV, I like to do a little snapshot of what I've watched that month and review it. And this is where like the memory thing came in, where I was saying about, and having this as like a little reflection on the year rather than it being just a diary and just a to-do. And then at the end of every month I do like a, this is the music that was the most played, and then how I'm currently feeling. These change depending on how I'm feeling. The month that I did it here, I've got I'm currently feeling, thinking about, learning, inspired by, celebrating and loving. And it's just a nice way that when I go back through the year, I can see all the things that I got up to and the things that made me smile and the things that I enjoyed and loved. And I really love doing that. So that's how I will be doing my year. And I have pre-filled all of the month's calendars. I am so proud of myself, because that's usually the bit that I hate the most, is writing out the calendars. So I have the entire year ready to go. And when I was setting up January, I managed to do it in like 20 minutes. As much as possible, I am going to pre-fill the year, and that will be something I'm going to do over the next couple of weeks. And I have a collaboration coming up with a stationery company who are sending me some samples to try out and review and share with you guys that will come with a little discount code. And I am so excited because it's the first time I've ever had a collaboration like this, and I can't wait to do that. And I'll be using some of those to set up some of these months. And again, I'll take you on that journey with me. So yeah, let me know in the comments, do you yourself do any kind of bullet journaling? Are you the sort that puts absolutely everything into your journal? Are you the sort that feels, you know, one journal might last you 2-3 months? I've tried to do it so that my entire year is contained to this one. This will end up being sort of almost like a memory snapshot journal. So yeah, let me know in the comments, what sort of journaler are you? Are you your bullet journal is purely used as a functional tool, and it's more about dates and to-do lists and things like that? Are you a purely aesthetic, artistic, make it as creative and scrapbooky as you can? Or are you kind of like me, where you've got a very simple and very set way that you set everything up, but those spreads are a mixture of function and reflection? Let me know, what is your journaling style? Also, let me know, would you be interested in learning a bit more about other journal things and writing that I would like to do? I really want to get back into my writing next year, and part of that, one of the things that I want to do, I am always coming up with little silly plot ideas and book ideas for things that I'm never going to write, but maybe someone else will. So Jona suggested that I do a video next year where I am giving out free plots. So if you're an author and you're a writer struggling for a plot, maybe I'll give you some ideas there. So yeah, let me know. I always love to hear from you. I hope this has been enjoyable, or even inspirational maybe. Let me know how you're getting on with your journal setups, and don't forget you can always leave links to your content below should you wish to share anything with me. And in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all good, I hope you're staying safe, and until next time, bye!